What's up, everybody? It is the Best Spot Kid Smooth, and I'm actually just going to give my opinion on this whole Destiny 2 thing. I mean, I've watched everybody's videos, everybody's troll videos, everybody's celebrate videos. You got people fucking twerking, you got people like just high-fiving like, yeah, this is awesome. Destiny 30 frames per second on the mid-gen upgrade consoles, or at least one of them. So, Destiny 2, everybody's watching videos, and if you could go on my Twitter timeline, if you're not following me on Twitter, dude, I only have 2,900 Twitter followers. Please follow me on Twitter, and you can see pretty much every content I watch. I watch my homeboy AJ, I watch Randall Thor, I watch a lot of people. Yeah, there goes Jez. I watch a lot of people's freaking content, and it usually shows up on my Twitter feed when I hit the like button. Like, who the hell is that I like video from? So, anyway, but let's talk about Destiny 2. So the guys, the makers behind Destiny 2, and Destiny has confirmed that on PlayStation and PlayStation 4 Pro, because they can't talk about the Scorpio version, and I think on Xbox, a Destiny 2 will be 30 frames per second, and it will be unlocked frame rate on PC, because why the fuck not? And people were like, why? And then they kind of confirmed why it's 30 frames on the PlayStation Beast Pro. It's a beast of machine, you know, it's the 4K, dynamic 4K machine. Reason why it's doing 30 frames per second on the Pro is because the CPU just kind of fucking sucks. It really can't handle it. Destiny, they said they're doing a lot with the game. It looks good. They're able to get their 4K on Pro. Obviously it's dynamic 4K, but they're able to get a locked 30 frames per second, which is pretty cool. So me initially, when I heard this news, it never occurred to me that Destiny 2 was going to be 60 frames per second based off Destiny 1 not being 60 frames per second in any point at all. You know, it was 30 frames per second. I believe Destiny's engine is kind of really based and optimized around 30 frames per second. It's a slower paced game like the old Halo games were. It's a really slower pace. It's not open world, but it's semi-open. It's a lot going on, and it's optimized best for 30 frames per second. So when I heard about Destiny 2, I'm like, all right, Destiny 2 on Scorpio is going to be 4K Ultra. I'll tell you, I would be like, it should be like 4K, like max settings equivalent. I don't expect it to be 30 frames per second if the Xbox One version is 30 frames per second, based on what they were saying about pretty much maximizing the game's engine. All right, a lot of people will tell you, oh, it's Kid Smooth, he said all games gonna be 4K 60. They'll refer you to like some of the earlier things I said about Scorpio, but they will completely ignore all the things I said after the Gamasutra reveal came out, after the Digital Foundry reveal came out, where I corrected some of my heinous statements about Project Scorpio's capabilities. But so a lot of people are upset that, wow, because obviously PlayStation has a marketing deal, they're going to go for that whole 4K 30 on Pro, which means they're going to just do 4K 30 on Scorpio. They can't talk about Scorpio, but there's no way Bungie is doing 4K 30 on Scorpio if they're getting, like, you know, some of that Sony D for the marketing deals. It's just not happening. I can understand, but Microsoft has recently came out, because it was long ago believed that, you know, Xbox Scorpio games have to match the frames per second on Xbox One games. This has been said before, and Microsoft has gone back and changed a lot of things that they put forth because they didn't want to put limitations on developers, and that was some of the language last year. They said, and I think what they were doing was, even though developers have options, they were kind of speaking for the devs. It's like, well, I kind of expect a developer not to go back and optimize the game for 60 frames per second if their engine itself is optimized for 30 frames per second. They expect them to maximize the 4K and the higher fidelity, the visuals and whatnot, the super sampling and whatnot, but probably didn't expect them to go back and, you know, adjust the frame rate. They can lock them, they can clean them up, but they didn't expect them to go and do 60. But now Mikey Barr, Phil Spencer, Shane Loft, they're saying it is the developer's choice to go ahead and do 60 frames per second if they wanted to. If they want to do 60 frames per second with their game, so be it. Do it. But most developers won't unless you're dealing with like a single player game. If you're going from like, let's say Tomb Raider 30 frames per second on Xbox One, and then you get to play it on Scorpio, yeah, they can go back and just make that 60. That doesn't change. It wouldn't change. It's not like a multiplayer where everybody, like, I'm playing Tomb Raider on Scorpio, you're playing Tomb Raider on Xbox One. Me and you are allowed to have complete different experiences as far as gameplay goes. So that's where, when it comes to games like Halo, Destiny, and all this other crap, it's like, okay, you kind of want some of this, you want something to be the same, whether it be frame rate. I don't know. And I think this is where it becomes dead heat, because now Gears, Forza players, it's crossplay. When I play Forza Horizon 3 at 60 frames per second on my PC and I'm playing with my Xbox buddies, I'm not playing at 30 frames per second. I'm playing at 60. They're playing at 30. So I think that that argument dies there. An Elite controller, way more accessible and way more advanced than a traditional Xbox One controller. That's an advantage. So I think that all that stuff is really about to go away, and I feel like, I don't know how many developers are going to take advantage of this whole 60 frames per second multiplayer versus 30 and how that will play out. I am not sure, but I think this whole Destiny thing, I'm not losing my shit over Destiny. I don't care if Destiny 30 frames per second. It's been 30 frames per second. I can understand if this was a game like Call of Duty or Battlefront, where you literally expect this shit to be 60 frames per second, and when they put it on a mid-gen console, oh no, we're gonna give you 30 so we can give you 4K. No, can't happen. But because Destiny itself was 30 frames per second in its original game, and people were blaming that on the Xbox One and PS3, I guarantee you, if Xbox One and PS3 had the Xbox 360 and PS3 had no Destiny release, the game would still be 30 frames per second. It will be. So I think it's just the way the engine is run. I think it's the way they designed the engine. It's just works best for 30 frames per second. And this is why I'm curious to see Destiny 2 on PC, because like, it's not coming out day and date. On PC, it's not coming out September 8th. That shit probably come out November. Shit might come out December. Shit might get delayed somewhere until February. Who knows? Because this unfamiliar territory with this game and with the engine, they have to rework it. He just didn't. In one article, I think they were relying on G-Sync to get the frame rates. Like, so I don't know how that's going to play out. You know what I mean? And obviously, those who want to play on PC, you're going to have to wait. You're not going to get it day one. We'll see how it performs. But as far as console versions go, I don't think anybody should be upset that Destiny is not 60 frames per second, because none of you have ever experienced a Destiny game, or let alone a Bungie game at 60 frames per second, unless you were playing the Master Chief Collection, you know, where 343 and the other guys had kind of made those 60 frames per second. But we haven't experienced a Bungie game at 60 frames per second. We haven't experienced a Destiny game at 60 frames per second. So we're not missing out on anything. You know, and if you want to play at 60 or more frames per second, you're going to have to wait and play it on your PC, which is going to be dead in the water. So I expect Scorpio to have Destiny to have Scorpio support at 4K 30 frames per second. It would be honestly a complete shocker if it's 60 frames per second. Not because I don't think Scorpio can handle it at 60 frames per second. Destiny is not that great of a looking game as far as demanding from what I've seen other games be able to do. But I won't be surprised that, wow, Scorpio has that 60 frames per second. I'll be surprised on the business terms. It will be a smart business and relationship move for Bungie to keep Destiny 2 30 frames per second on Project Scorpio, because, like I said, they're in bed with Sony. It would be a smart business move. However, it would be a consumer move, a great consumer move, if it was 60 frames per second on Scorpio, because that shows they're not riding this corporation bullshit and they're taking advantage of each hardware's limitations. They're going to, like, you know what? If your PC can run 140 frames per second, you're going to be able to do it. If Project Scorpio can handle our game at 60 frames per second, well, damn sure, let's do it. PS4 Pro can handle dynamic 4K at 30 frames per second, well, damn it, we're going to do it. If Bungie and Activision had a mind like that thought about the shit that you buy, the stuff that you own at your home to take advantage of your consoles, then sure, I'd be like, yeah, Destiny 2 is going to run 60 frames on Scorpio, but they don't. They run and think like a corporation. Like I said, there's favoritism, there's marketing, and I'm not going to completely blame Sony for this, and I'm not going to blame Xbox One, a 30 frames per second cap, for this either. I'm blaming the Destiny engine and what's best for business. It's not best for the consumer. They're doing what's best for business, and that's my thoughts on Destiny 2 and its 30 frames per second fiasco. At the end of the day, I've never been a Destiny fan, but I am jumping on a bandwagon this year so I can hop on a team, get some achievements, and get good at Destiny. And if I find that the game sucks and boring and it's starting to cost me more than it should, then I'll drop the game like Square Enix dropped IL. We out of here. It's Kid Smooth. Xbox is the best box, and I am the best bot. Good night, or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. And right now, if you're nighttime, I'm on the other side of the globe. Peace, guys. Thank you guys for watching.